well?
I am. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I just wanted to start with the team news, actually. I just wonder, is Curtis Jones ready to be part of the squad? And what's the latest update on Thiago, when you might expect to have him back?
Curtis will train today with us completely. He trained already, was parts of training before we went to Atletico. So he should be in contention. Thiago, not. He was not in team training yet, will not be this week for sure. Is running meanwhile, so that's a good sign. I think it's this week and then the next week, and then we have international. Was 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's before international or for sure after international break. That's what we expect, but we will see.
Obviously, a big game in terms of the rivalry between the two clubs, and a big game that impacts the title race positions as well. But Paul Scholes said after watching United in midweek, Jurgen Klopp, watching that game, will be rubbing his hands together, obviously at the prospect of what Liverpool could possibly do given United's performance in midweek. So just how accurate was that assessment by Paul Scholes?
I was together with me when I watched the games. There was not 1 second when I was rubbing my hands. I can't say that. There was no reason for it. If you watch the game, then you obviously could see that Atlanta cost United in the first half some problems. But even in that half, I think United had 3 clear-cut chances in one situation on the goalie. So with all the things, so in the second half was a pure power presentation of United. They went for it, and with the quality they have, they can cause then any team problems, especially when you stop playing football. What opposite Atlanta did a little bit. So no, I was not rubbing my hands, and I've not. I prepared the team for a tough game against a really good opponent. So I don't prepare them now like for 3-4 days for Man United and Battle of Britain and all these kind of things that we are long enough together that we all know the importance of this game. We prepare them for a football team, and that's a really good football team they have, and that's it. And it's an away game as well for us, so it's a home game for them. So that's what we do.
Finally, for me, Jürgen, obviously you've spoken before about wanting to be part of big games like this. It's one of the reasons for being in the position that you are. But Mikel Arteta spoke about the treatment of Steve Bruce this week, and he says that the treatment of Steve Bruce is putting potential managers off. What do you think? Sorry,
which treatment?
The treatment in terms of criticism, abuse from certain sections as well that Steve Bruce has suffered. Steve Bruce spoke pretty openly about the impact that it's had on himself and his family this week. And Mikel was reacting to that and saying that it's that kind of treatment that puts potential managers off coming into the game, or even players staying in the game once they've finished their playing career.
Social media or what is
a mix of it all, social media, I suppose, criticism from the media as well.
Don't read it, don't watch it. So, and especially not in average or bad periods. I think that's the best advice you can give to every manager in the world. So I'm really sorry for Steve if that happened, and he obviously when he responded to it, then he obviously got aware of it. So I think that's one of the most important skills in modern football for a manager is either way not to let criticism get too close to you, or just ignore it. That's what I do, by the way. And so far in my career, I never felt it maybe like Brucey felt it now. I don't know, but that's a situation, and the world is like this. Everybody can say what they want. That's fine for me because I don't read it. But if you read it, then it might hurt. So that's possible. That's the part of communication or social media, communication via social media, I don't understand. So there are always two parts. If you read it, you say it, and that's obviously possible. And they say bad things out there, not only about managers, about the world, about all big decision makers on this planet and stuff like this. And then you need somebody who reads it. If you don't read it, it cannot harm you. So that would be my advice for young managers. And then you can do the job pretty long and pretty well.
Thank you, Vinny. We go to Hugh for 2 from Premier League Productions, and then to Juliet from the BBC.
Hi, Jurgen. Alison had something interesting to say after the Atleti game about the fact that you said just what they wanted or they needed to hear at half-time in that game. I don't know if it's an English obsession about rousing speeches at half-time, but it seems to me that they're kind of old-fashioned. Do you place a great value in what you say at half-time and how you say it?
Yeah. I have not the biggest influence on my team, obviously, during the game, because it's very loud. The stadium, it was in the Wanda Metropolitano. It was very loud. Pep Linders was constantly talking to me, and I understood pretty much like 10%, and we were next to each other. So you are not that influential during a game. It's more visual. Oh, the boss doesn't look happy or whatever. So yes, I think it's very important that we say the right stuff in the right moment before the game, in halftime, and if you can reach out to them then during the game as well. But that's my job, obviously, to analyze the things in the right way, and to tell the boys how we can keep going, or what we have to improve, or how we can use the information we got in the first half. That's the job.
One of the reasons I ask that is because you might have a very different first half Manchester United to a second half Manchester United based on what we've been able to see from them recently. So is one of the messages to your team this Sunday, be aware of their ability, certainly their recent ability, to resurrect themselves from a difficult position?
Yeah, no. Didn't think yet about what I would tell the boys, actually. But come on, we all know how the world in football is. And they won all that game. But this is United-Liverpool is a massive game, obviously, we know that. I think Man United is not overly happy with the results they got so far, but we all know that they are able to do incredible stuff. So that's how it is. And we saw it already. We try to focus mainly on ourselves. But of course, if you ask me about halftime talk now, the game is over after the final whistle, not after that, the whistle after 45, 46 minutes. So we know that, but I might mention that, but it depends on the result, obviously.
Brilliant. Okay, we go across the room now. We go to Juliet, then to James from TalkSport, then to James from BBC Merseyside. Jules first.
Jürgen, just picking up on what Hugh was saying, the fact that United do seem to dig deep when things are looking dire, sort of digging out those results. We saw in midweek, Hugh called it a dirty 3 points, the ugly wins, they're the most important. Will the intensity of midweek, be in the mind of both managers and sort of have a sway in the performance that maybe we'll see on Sunday with, perhaps, team selection and energy levels because of the shift that both teams had to put in midweek?
Oh, we play Tuesday and we play on Sunday. We don't have to think about that. No, I don't think United Wednesday, Sunday has to think about that. Wednesday, Saturday could have been our problem at Atletico. We had a lot of problems. Obviously, one is the opponent, but it was a massive problem. We saw that they had the weekend off before. So they played with 10 men, but of course they had a completely different energy than we could have in that game. And so we fought through that. That's how it is. But we came through it. That's good. And now we recovered for the last 2 days. And now today we start preparing the game properly. And that's exactly how it should be. No consideration because of the intensity of the last game, for us at least.
Okay, we go to James from TalkSport for one.
Jurgen, two of the best in the world in action this weekend with Mo Salah and Cristiano Ronaldo. They're both brilliant goal scorers, but how do they compare as players?
I never thought about that. Why should we compare Cristiano Ronaldo and Mo Salah? So obviously, both are world-class players. So that's how it is. And I would say, even when Ronaldo's left foot is not that bad, but I would say most left foot is probably better. Maybe then Cristiano is in the air slightly better, and the right foot is probably better. So, but speed-wise, they are both pretty quick, very desperate to score goals. So maybe that's it. But I really never thought properly about that, and not too interested in it. Sorry.
Okay, fantastic. With James from the BBC Merseyside, and then we will finish with Per from TV2 Norway. This section, I should say. James.
Hi, Jurgen. You've got 30 goals in your last 9 league and cup outings, home and away. I just wonder, when you're scoring so many goals, what does that do for the confidence, not just the strikers, but for how the whole team plays?
It helps, obviously, but it's not now that we start, but that we are in a situation where we just rely on our goal scoring skills and think we score anyway, so we can concede 2 because we always score 3. No, it's had nothing to do with it. It's more a coincidence that we scored that often. It's just we created chances and score, but in a row, it's quite strange that we did that. I know that. But we don't rely on it, and I love winning football games with 1-0 as well. So that's completely fine. For that, we need to keep a clean sheet, which would be a good idea for the United game anyway. But yes, scoring goals is good for confidence, but relying on that is already the first step in a completely wrong direction. So I think this gets mentioned now quite frequently in the last few weeks, obviously, that we scored a lot of goals. We never felt it, we never thought about it, and that's how we thought we continue dealing with it, because nobody knows how often you score in the next game. Hopefully you do, and hopefully you don't concede. That gives you a good chance to win.
Terrific. Okay, Per for the final question, and I've got 2 hands up for the dailies. I can probably take one more, and then that'll be the next section. But Per, to finish this open section of the press conference off.
Hi again, hope you're well.
I am. Hi.
Maybe you answered this before, but I wanted to ask you anyways. Earlier this season, Ollie suggested that the comment you made about Man United's penalties after the Southampton game last season has influenced the referees and made it more difficult for them to get penalties. What's your take on that?
Nothing really to say about it. I think when Ole said it, in between what I said and when Ole said what he said, they had 5 penalties and we had 2. No, still, even, and we all know, come on, that the refs are not, we can't influence refs by things like that. But having the amount of penalties that United had before that was quite exceptional. They are good, they go in the box, they have these kind of situations. But we have them as well and got not even the similar amount of penalties. It's just facts. Who cares? It's done. And yeah, nothing else to say about it.
Thank you, Per. We'll call that. Okay, now we go to the embargo section. I've got the 3 hands up I can probably take before we go to the Sunday, so just bear with me. You need to stop streaming, tweeting, using the information from here if possible. Everything we get in this particular section is under embargo until 10:30 p.m. tonight, which